Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. The hardest lesson of my life has come to me late. It is that a nation can win freedom without its people becoming free. These are the words of the late Dr. Joshua Nkomo, one of Zimbabwe's nationalist leaders. I think that is a profound statement. A nation can win its freedom, its independence, without the people becoming free. This, unfortunately, is true of Zimbabwe. And when he said this, of course, he was talking about Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is not free because the leaders, when the country gained its independence in 1980, decided to deny the people their basic freedoms and rights, including the right to a meaningful say in the governance of the country. They did this, of course, to consolidate their own hold on power. Mugabe and company were obsessed about absolute power. And so we ended up with a situation where the country did gain its independence. And yet, the people did not gain their freedom. Some people have said in Zimbabwe, we entered white colonial oppression only to replace it with black oppression rather. And that is very true. I think the tragedy is that whilst for Dr. Joshua Nkomo, the lesson came to him late, as he said. Unfortunately, for some of our leaders, our political leaders, they still haven't learned the lesson. So we have had 45 years of independence, and yet people are still far from being free. I think one of the tragedies is that if anything at all, the ZANU-PF thugs have become even more oppressive as time went on, as they became aware that they'd failed to deliver on the promises of freedom and economic prosperity. To hang on to power, they had to resort to even more draconian measures to stay in power. And this has got progressively worse as the country moved on. It is a nightmare. There's no denying it. Some of the ZANU-PF leaders, the likes of Margaret Dongo, have realized it. and have admitted it. Here is Margaret Longo speaking on this issue of freedom to the ordinary people, specifically to the rural area people.
They have wrong priorities, especially the current government. How can you go and build an airport which services a few people, and the majority are the elite and the so-called investors? Look at the rural. I made you come to interview me because I wanted you to have the experience of the roads that we are using. If we go today to our hospital there, you feel pity with that's a hospital in a rural area. If we go to our clinic, you feel pity. We have no piped water here. Do you know the reason why the rural people vote for ZANU-PF? One, they're intimidated. Two, the policy is that the rural people should remain poor and subservient to the government. They should remain poor, because if they remain poor, they continue singing the song for their master. This is why these people have been impoverished. It's for a reason. Because at the moment, if you economic empower these people, they'll go out of hand. ZANU-PF will never have control over them.
That is the true and tragic reality. The one issue we have been going round and round over is the issue of free, fair, and credible elections. ZANU-PF has systematically denied the ordinary people the right to a meaningful say in the governance of the country, the right to free, fair, and credible elections. Ever since the country's independence, Zimbabwe has yet to hold free, fair, and credible elections. The nearest we ever got to holding free, fair, and credible elections was in 2008, when SADC had pressured the regime to implement electoral reforms to make it the process a bit more transparent. And as the election results of the March 2008 vote came out, it was clear that ZANU-PF was losing. And the regime stepped in, took over the whole process from SADC, from ZEC, and blatantly cheated the results, particularly whittled down Morgan Tsvangirai's 73% or so of the votes to a mere 47%, enough to force the runoff. And during the runoff, the country was to experience the worst electoral violence in the country's history. Here is Mnangagwa boasting about his role in that electoral coup of 2008.
2008 patakaita ma-elections pakaposa papinda Tsvangirai ndandiri election agent ya president. Ma-results abuda tiri party headquarters vamutasa vanga vari secretary vedu ve-administration vamutasa muripi ndafona ndiri kwarusapi komo gwenda kwarusapi seka ma-results achibuda kudai vanga aiwa zvako izvo Mnangagwa ndezvako endaenda kumusha ofisi vanga vabisa zvinhu zvavo zvose watofunga kuti zani yadini yaparara. President ofona zvakamira sei kati ndomamira zvakaita takatodini kateda sei manje mama ndikati abvudzai baba nditaure navo baba gadzirai politburo, cabinet. Musarangarira zvimwe zvigadzirai cabinet. Asi ndangoda kuti muzive kuti 2008 maresults abuda vamutasa vakatiza.
As a country, we face a generational transition. Vana vesa vari below 35, they are crying out for help. The country is in a mess. Arusuru, we know we are inheriting a mess. We know this country has been left with nothing.
I'm assuring you that starting from tomorrow, you'll see a different nation from what you have seen or read on the news about these results and everything. Where we are going ahead there, the situation will be very different. What we said to our people, they could not see with their own eyes. We are going to act as we see it fit. We are prepared to go the whole distance.
Tragically, this is the Zimbabwe we are living in. We do not have, yes, the country is independent, but the people are not free. Yesterday, Zimbabwe was celebrating, or rather recognizing, its 45 years of post-independence. But if the truth be told, it has been 45 years and the people are still not free. The day itself was more about Mnangagwa than about the independence of the people. Here is one of the cars with the head of Mnangagwa painted on the side and with the usual praise of Mnangagwa himself. Everything is for ED. And the car got stuck in the mud. The country's roads have been in a deplorable state. And in preparation for the Independence Day celebration, which were being held at in Gokwe, the road had been quickly repaired. Unfortunately, in the heavy rains, the loose gravel turned into mud, and many cars were stuck. In many ways, it has become the symbol of Zimbabwe. The country has gained this independence, and yet we are stuck. It is a pity, but leaders themselves do not see the reality that the country is independent, but the people are still not free. This is even more so, more tragic, that the people themselves are failing to realize that they are not free. And hence the reason why we are going round and round in circles. The right to a meaningful say in the governance of the country is more than just a right. It is the essence of good governance. And denying the people the right to a meaningful say in the governance of the country, the right to free, fair, and credible elections, is to deny the people the right to good governance. Zimbabwe is a failed state. As much as the regime would want to deny it, that is the truth. Unfortunately, the leaders themselves don't see it, at least the current crop of leaders. And the people themselves do not see it 45 years after independence. The worrying thing is, if they fail to see that the present political system has failed after 45 years, is there any reason to believe they will see it? What is there to open their eyes if the reality of the last 45 years have failed to open their eyes to that reality that the people are not free? I think that is a really seriously worrying truth. Zimbabwe will be holding elections come 2028. It will be the country's opportunity to end this ZANU-PF dictatorship. They've had many other golden opportunities to end the dictatorship the last 45 years. The most notable of that opportunity was the GNU of 2008 to 2013. Unfortunately, not even a token reform was implemented. And hence the reason why post the GNU, ZANU-PF took off from where it left off and continued to blatantly rig the elections. Come 2028, there is a window of opportunity SADC and the AU have done the nation a great favor. In the 2023 elections, both the continental body and the regional body, election observers condemned Zimbabwe's elections as flawed and illegal. They could not go the extra mile and deny ZANU-PF legitimacy as they'd done in 2008. Why? Two basic reasons. One, Zimbabweans themselves had participated in those elections. The opposition, the main opposition, Triple C, had participated in those elections. Chamisra had conned the people to participate in those elections, telling them that he had plugged all the vote rigging loopholes Triple C was going to win big. They believed him in their millions. Nearly 2 million Zimbabweans participated in those elections. The second point was the Triple C leaders themselves who had participated, even when SADC and the AU had said the election process was flawed and illegal. They went up to take up their seats. I think it was unthinkable. How could SADC or the AU turn around and say the election denies ZANU-PF political legitimacy under those conditions? The answer is they could not do that. Come 2028, if Zimbabweans wake up to the reality that if you participate in flawed elections, you give the process legitimacy. And for once, stop participating. I believe SADC and the AU will force ZANU-PF into another GNU. And hopefully this time, all the democratic reforms will be implemented. So there is a window of opportunity. Whether or not the people of Zimbabwe will take it will depend on whether or not they finally learn the lesson that as much as we can say we are independent and we've won our freedom, we are not free. Food for thought. Thank you very much. Have a good day.